Good morning. Can you guys hear me? How you guys doing today? I just got into the room and turned on the mic, and I just want to make sure everything is good and you can hear me. Really tight in terms of making it for the show today. So I hope you guys can hear me okay. I hope the video is good. And I apologize for being a little unprepared this morning, but I was slightly hungover from some partying last night again. Like I mentioned last Sunday, October is a crazy month for me. I'm definitely overwhelmed by a bunch of parties. Last night I had my son's party, and I was sort of preparing stuff for that and participating in that a little bit. The day before was my daughter's party, which kind of lasted 2 days. So she's like a party animal. So I'm on a 3-day party bender, and I'm totally unprepared. I didn't even have breakfast this morning. I'm having a this is my breakfast. I'm having a mini donut and a little cannoli left over from yesterday's party. Breakfast of champions. If that doesn't give me a sugar rush, and of course my coffee. I can't start the morning without my coffee. So I'll be nibbling on this stuff while I'm talking to you guys this morning, but forgive me for that. So how's everybody doing? Happy Sunday, show number 88. Thank you guys for joining me on another episode or another live session of Addicted to Gear. It's 10:02. We're probably going to go for about an hour today. As we usually do. We're going to be talking about gear, we're going to be talking about guitars, we're going to be talking about anything that you guys really want to discuss regarding the music industry, what's popular, what's not, what you guys have are eyeing in terms of purchases and whatnot. So we're going to be, as usual, talking about a lot of great stuff. And I want you guys not to be shy and to pipe in. Don't just hang out or lurk in the background. Feel free to join in on the conversation and make sure that we can talk about what it is that you guys are into and what you guys are looking at in terms of gear. I don't even have my headphones on today. That's because I don't have a guitar on my lap. So I don't really need the headphones, but I'll put them on anyways just to make sure that the sound is good. Let me start off by saying good morning before we get into it. I'd like to start right away. I see that there's a few of you already here this morning, nice and early. Paul, good morning. Cushman, good morning. Jack Collins, how are you? Do we have a couple of questions already? Yeah, some people are talking about the weather. Some people are talking about it being rainy, and it's today is not rainy over here for me, but it's going to be raining all week according to my weather app. So it's going to be a pretty crappy week. So I'm going to take advantage of today to actually do something productive. Wayne says, good morning, all gearheads. Had to buy not one, but 2 old Canadian-made Regal tube amps. One's a 500, one's a 300 model, low watt, but some nice tones. $350 for both. Nice. So I'm not that familiar with these Regal amps, Wade, and I'm Canadian. So maybe you could fill me in. I don't know if the others know much about the amps as well. But let me know what prompted you to buy these amps, and how come you bought 2? Are you just grabbing as many of these amps as you can, or it was simply too much of a good deal to pass up for $350? So you're going to hear my dog tip-tapping around me today because she knows I have a donut and she's going to want some. She's right over, you can't see her, but her head's in my lap right now. And she's like looking at me with the dog eyes saying, hey, how come I don't have part of that donut? But there's chocolate on the donut, so I can't give it to her. So you're going to hear the tapping around me today. All right. Good morning, Dan. Good morning to the Nye as well. Christian is here. Good morning from Germany as well. A interesting topics already. I can see in the chat. Good morning, Mark. Mark says he had a private gig last night. Good way to start the weekend. I saw your post on Instagram outside too. So it looks like the weather there is still good for those type of things. That's pretty nice. It looked like fun. Looked like a nice setup. Hopefully, I'm gonna have. There's Christmas parties starting to be planned right now, and I think somebody's trying to book us for a Christmas party. So who knows? Maybe we'll end up playing a party somewhere this Christmas. It's always hard to tell with COVID, right? We don't really know what the restrictions are going to be like, but cheers. Just needed a little sip of coffee to wet the old whistle here. Fat Philosopher's got a Halloween gig next week. Does that mean you're going to be playing like dressed up? How is that going to go down, Fat Philosopher? Where's the gig? Larry says he had too much Guinness, so he's kind of hungover himself as well. Rico, good morning. Mark, good morning. Mark EFX. Is this a Gas Anonymous meeting? It is. It is. The first step in, getting better is admitting you have a problem. So this is our regular Sunday gas meetings. You can call them that if you wish. Alan says, hi, I have a Vox, a VT40X, the final design of the range. Great little amp. So a lot of people like those little Vox amps, like the little night trains and the little combo amps that they have out there. I don't know. I've never tried one of those myself. That's one of the amps that I never really purchased myself is a Vox. I'm more of a Marshall guy. I like the Fender cleans, but I'm more of a Marshall guy. That's sort of the sounds that I prefer when I play. So Vox has sort of a chimier sound, but I haven't ever felt that I needed a Vox yet. But who knows? Maybe eventually I'll grab one of those little ones as well. So if I don't give this dog something, she's not going to leave. And if I give her something, she's not going to leave. So what do? I'm just going to pet her for now and see how it goes. Jeff, good morning. We're going to be talking about gear acquisitions in a minute. Mark FX says that the past 2 weeks he's got 8 pedals. So we need to know what pedals those are, Mark. We like to know what you bought, and so we can get a better idea of what you're looking at tone-wise. Fat Philosopher says, my boss broke down and I was bored with it anyway. Picked this Vox up for a steal. Okay, so Vox is, a lot of people are interested in Vox today. Alan says, we are fine, just bracing ourselves for the winter. We're doing the same here. Alan, today I'm going to be putting up my car shelter. One of the things that I detest about fall. The usual things, putting up your car shelter, getting your tires changed, bringing all the stuff in. I got a whole bunch of stuff I got to bring in as well before, it starts getting cold. And there's one thing I hate is working outside when it's really cold, especially on a car shelter, because if you guys don't know and you're not Canadian, you're holding these metal poles while you're putting it together. Your fingers are freezing. You can't, grab the bolts. They fall because your fingers are numb from the cold. So it's not a lot of fun to be doing this in the wintertime. So, hopefully I won't have to do that alone. I usually try and get people to participate in that activity reluctantly, although it may be they usually feel some pity on me and come and help. So I'll probably be doing the rest of the day today, unfortunately. I did a last bash with the pizza oven that maybe some of you might have already discovered that I have a pizza oven. I mentioned it in one of the shows. And, during the party for my daughter, we decided to make a whole bunch of pizzas. So I probably made about 14 pizzas or maybe 16 pizzas or whatever. And they turned out really, really great. So I was happy to have had a last opportunity to throw in some pizzas in the oven before we basically wrap it up and put it away for the winter. It's going to be no more pizzas during the winter, although you can possibly use it in the winter time. I don't think I'm going to do that. It's just too much hassle. So we're gonna have to put that away. But yeah, if any of you want to see how the pizza turned out, just go on my Instagram channel. I posted a picture of it there. So if you guys are hungry, maybe avoid the picture. But if you guys want to see what it looks like, you can go over to my Instagram and check it out. Jeff says he went to see Roger Taylor Wednesday night. Great show, small venue, 900 capacity. Christian Mendoza on guitar using Victory amps, V40 and a VC35. So I'd like to comment a little bit on those Victory amps, if you don't mind. I really like the Victory amps. I was actually eyeing what they call the Sheriff. And it's their take on a Marshall, right? They can't call it a Marshall, so they call it a Sheriff. Same kind of idea, you know, Marshall, Sheriff, that whole Western thing. Really nice sounding amplifier from what I can tell. I came close to pulling the trigger on that amp a few times. And what stopped me from actually buying that amplifier was the fact that I already have a couple of amplifiers here that are very close to that particular sound, that can get very close in terms of Marshall sound. 3 actually. So I thought to myself, do I need another one that's going to give me that kind of Marshall tone? Although it's a great sounding amplifier from what I can see. And it blew my socks off when I heard it at first. I like the form factor. It's small, it's powerful enough. I'm not a big fan of those lunchbox type amps, unfortunately though. And this is one of those type of amplifiers. You know, it's all metal chassis. More and more people are making these. You know, you see like EVH. I think it was, I could be wrong, but I think it was Orange that started that trend, or it could have been some other company. I'm not really sure because there was a few doing that at the same time. And then all of a sudden everybody started making these lunchbox type amps. But I'm not a big fan of them. I don't know. I prefer the wooden chassis that you would see in a normal, you know, head box type of thing. So that's one of the things I didn't like about it, but it sounded really, really good. And it's small, it's compact, it's portable. I wouldn't think that a metal chassis like that would be the best in terms of protection against, you know, shocks and stuff like that. If there's wiring inside and the entire chassis is made of metal, how does that, you know, insulate? That's what I didn't really understand. I still don't understand. I would think that a wooden headbox would be safer in terms of you know, getting a shock or something like that. But I'm not a pro when it comes to electronics, so maybe one of you guys can actually educate me as to why they're going with that. I think it's just a cost thing. Gospel of Mark says Christmas gigs are fun. We did a live stream last year for it. May do it again. Yeah, that is a lot of fun. It's hard to get the participation factor in though when you're live streaming anything. That's one of the things that I learned from participating in a live stream where there was artists performing as well. So guys, I just wanted to say that if you have any questions about gear along the way, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm not holding a guitar today. So we're going to play a little game. We're going to play which guitar do you want me to show. It'll be like a show and tell type of thing. Any of the guitars that are behind me are fair game. We'll do a little vote and I'll show you which ones you guys feel like you want to see. I'll give you a rundown of what we have here. So we have the Harley Benton Fusion Pro. We have a Harley Benton single cut junior style guitar off camera here. We have the purple Telecaster, custom built by me. We have the Shure Standard Pro, Sir. I say Shure sometimes when I'm still asleep, half asleep. The Sir Standard Pro. After that, we have the Fender Road Worn Strat. We have the 60s Telecaster. We have another 3-tone Sunburst Telecaster. Stratocaster, sorry. We have the Red Squire Contemporary with pickups that I modified in it. We also have another white Telecaster behind me with a rosewood fretboard that I love, one of my favorite guitars. Then we're getting into Les Paul territory. We have the Tokai there, the Tokai. We have the Bacchus Les Paul style guitar. On that side, we have the Kramer Eddie Van Halen style guitar that I built from a kit. Another Harley Benton hollow body guitar there. We have a Gibson. We have a PRS SE 245 style guitar. And we have my EVH Tribute that I built not long ago. That's what I have lying here at the moment. Other guitars are around the house. Some are in the cases. I don't feel like pulling those out for the time being as well. So any of those are fair game for a show and tell. You guys let me know. Tarka says, why are Acusonics so expensive? They are 1,500 euros or 2,000 euros in the UK. Funny thing, I like your eyeball, by the way. Funny thing is, I don't know the answer to that because I was asking myself the very same question. I came across a few of these very similar type guitars that they released a while ago. This is Fender that I'm talking about now, guys. And they have these Strat style acoustic guitars. I'm not sure how well they sound. They're very thin guitars. They have a plastic back like the Ovations used to be. But they're cool. They have a nice neck on them. They have a Strat style neck, which I like. Actually, I was considering picking one up used not long ago. I saw it on the used market and it looked good and it wasn't expensive at all. It was like, I think the guy was asking like 199 bucks or something like that. Unfortunately, there was a pretty big defect in the guitar that I didn't see at first, so I let it be. But they weren't expensive, and there's a couple of them that I've come across lately. And Harley Benton has a version of these guitars as well too, their own version at about 200 bucks. So why are they asking $2,000? I have no clue. I really don't. Again, at that price for that type of a guitar, with the type of sound you're going to get from a guitar like that, I'm not really interested at that price point. Now, if you guys have purchased one and tried one and you can convince me that it's worth $2,000, let me know. But from my point of view, that's a hard pass. Rico says, only purchase was a TC Electronic flashback pedal. I've been playing with the tone print options. So congratulations on that purchase, Rico. That's a nice purchase for a pedal. I like the TC Electronic flashback myself. I have one. And yeah, the tone prints are great options. Which one have you finally settled on? I usually, play around and see if there's one that I like the most, and I leave it in there. I love the way the tone prints get loaded into the pedal. It's quite unique. If you guys haven't tried the TC Electronic stuff, it's pretty cool because you're able to actually load up the tone prints right from your phone. So if you load up the tone print app on your mobile device, your phone, you can actually choose the tone print you want to load up into the pedal. Through the pickups of the guitar, you can actually beam a signal, like an audio signal, almost like a modem. If you guys are old enough to know the modems that you used to use, the telephone, the actual telephone, and what they used to sound like. It sounds a lot like that. And you can actually beam this audio signal, and it actually loads the tone print into the pedal, and you don't have to even touch the pedal. It's crazy. It's pretty revolutionary, very sci-fi. So if any of you have tried that, it blows my socks off when you think of how they figured out how to do that. It's really great. And so I like the pedals for that. They have great sound as well. I like the TC Electronic stuff myself. I haven't had any bad experiences with it, so I could recommend it. It's pretty solid stuff. Good morning, Leo. It's nice to see some new names. Hopefully we get more new names. Okay, let me just go back. Now I'm falling way behind in the chat here, guys. Sorry. If any of you want to do a super chat and go all the way to the top, that's more than welcome. If you want to support the channel, by the way, and you want to pick up some swag, usually it's always at the bottom of my videos. That always supports the channel as well. But more than anything, it's subscribing. So if you're new to the live Sunday stream, and you're new to Addicted to Gear in general, please subscribe. Paul says he's got a Revv G8 coming, the ultimate noise gate, studio quality, zero coloring of your sound. So I saw that G8 myself, Paul, and at one point I was actually considering getting a noise gate to clean up my sound. Sometimes I play with P90s, sometimes I have a few pedals that are a little bit noisier than others, and it's nice to have a noise gate. And I was looking for one at the time. I was just looking at a couple of different options for that, but then I just let it go. I don't know. I don't know what happened, but I just kind of forgot about it, and I'm like, what the hell? And I kind of like focused my efforts on other things. But let me know how the Revv is, how the G8 is once you finally get it. I'm very curious to see if it works well or not. Yeah, I saw that, Fat Philosopher, the broken Gibson headstock on the channel. It was bound to happen. Hey, Cohen. Good morning to you. Yeah, I don't know if there's girls here, Fat Philosopher. I don't think so. Maybe there is. If there is, just say hi. I like to know about that. I don't think my demographics usually doesn't is not big on the female side of things, but maybe there are. I'm gonna take a bite of my donut, guys, with sprinkles, just for you. Cheers. I hope I don't choke on camera. Alan says, just saw your pizza. Looks tempting. Thank you. I haven't owned a Gibson with a broken headstock yet. Knock on wood. And I hope it never happens, because it's really a shitty thing. Can I say that word on anyways? It's not a good thing. Yeah, you can repair them. Everything's repairable. Well, anyways, most things are repairable. Depends on how bad the break is, but I wouldn't want to be somebody that's going to be looking at getting something like that repaired, Let me see here. I think we got a super chat. Sorry, I don't have... One of the things that I don't like about this platform that I'm using is that I can't see the super chats when they pop up. And I think you just get a little notification, but I don't really see the question associated with it. So it's a little bit of a pain. I don't know why they do that, but I'm going to just jump over quickly here to the actual... So Mark, Gospel of Mark, thank you, buddy. Thank you for the super chat. I do appreciate that. Tony, play either your Tokai, Bacchus, or PRS. Okay. There's none. Which one do you prefer, Mark? You're leaving it up to me? Okay. Let's see. I mean, I'm a big PRS fan, but I've shown that PRS quite a few times. Let me just pull up the Bacchus. I think the Tokai's gotten lots of love too. So let me grab that one. Maybe I can grab some of the other ones as well. Give me a sec. I'll grab that for you. Thanks, buddy. All right. So the Bacchus, give you a little background on this guitar. Let me just get set up so you can actually see it here. So I apologize for the shaky, everything's shaky today because I don't have my mouse. Anyways, we try and make the best of it. All right, so here is the Bacchus. This guitar was purchased on a whim. I purchased this guitar because I saw it listed on my local, one of the local buy and sell boards. And the first thing that caught my attention was the body. Love the flame on this guitar. And it looked too good. And I'm a sucker for good quality guitars. I did some research on Bacchus, and I don't know if it's tuned. I did some research on the Bacchus line. What happened there? Sorry guys, I'm getting some noise here. Let me just turn something off. There we go. Sorry if you guys got an earful of noise. I think I actually did something with the jack. Anyways, as I was saying, I purchased this guitar because of the beautiful body, and I did some research on the Bacchus line, and they have some really nice guitars. Then there's higher end versions of the Bacchus line and lower end versions. This is actually a lower end version, but at the same time, it's not a shabby guitar at all. Yes, the body is not a solid top. It's probably a flame veneer, but it looks great. The body feels really nice, not very heavy at all. And even unplugged has really nice sustain, nice projection. I did upgrade the pickups on this guitar. No big surprise there because I do upgrade my pickups on most of my guitars. And I like the fact that the neck was pretty dark in terms of the wood. The reason I bought this guitar, though, after trying it, was because the neck on this guitar is very slim. A lot of my, a lot of Gibsons don't have a very slim neck. This one, front to back, is one of the slimmest necks on any of my Gibson style guitar. So it's a very different feel. It's a very different feel on this guitar than some of my other ones. So I said, yeah, I got to get this one. And I got it, and I love it, and it plays really, really well. The nut is bone and was upgraded. I think the original one wasn't. I changed that over to bone. The tuners are the tulip style tuners, which I like. I don't know if this is a specific brand. I don't think so, but they look really nice front and back. So I'm really happy, and I got this for a really, really cheap price, which made it even better for me, right? What's better than getting an opportunity to get a really inexpensive guitar? So I love it, and it's been in my collection ever since. Let me try to plug this in here. See if I can actually get some sounds. I don't know if it's tuned here. It's gonna be too loud. And I have a dirty sound, of course. Not tuned, of course. Sorry, guys. I'll tune it up here. It's been on my rack for a while, so it's not. That's why it's not tuned. And one of the things I don't like about it, and it's just something that I learned over time, is that because the neck is very thin front to back, it's actually more susceptible to changes in terms of temperature. I think it's just very loud. Sorry guys, let me just try and see if I can get a decent sound here, something that's not gonna blow your eardrums out. I was playing with the not clean, but whatever. Actually, I'm playing with a metal pick here. I'm not used to it. Tech picks. Do you guys know these picks? They're metallic picks. They're very thin, very rigid picks. They sound pretty good. I don't know how good they are for your health though, because every time I play with these picks, I get some weird powder in my leftover. The thing is that they do have a little section here that is shiny at the bottom, and then they have a section at the top that's grippy, and they have little holes. But listen to this. Can you hear that? it's like, you know, for anybody that likes to use quarters, like, you know, Billy Gibbons type of thing. You can try out these picks. They're interesting. I gave it a shot just to see what it feels and sounds like. But it's all good, all good. So Mark voted PRS, so I'm gonna do him a favor since he did do the super chat and he wants to see the PRS. So I'm gonna give you that was the Bacchus rundown. I'm gonna give you a 2-for-1, Mark. I'll go get the PRS in a second here, okay? Let me just catch up with a couple of questions here. Before I do that, I will... Dan says, Orange Terror amps are lunchbox, have SS, hybrid, and tube. Had an EVH LBX until I got my EL34s. Nice option to pick up and go. Yeah, but I wanted to know if anybody had any experience or knowledge of how well they work if you have, you know, any issues with the grounding of the amplifier, considering it has a metal chassis. All right, let me unplug this guy. Let me go get the PRS. Sorry, guys, I'm just trying to get things to work here. 1 second. PRS on the way. Alrighty, PRS guys. This is the PRS SE model that I use often, show often. You probably have seen it before. The thing with the PRS that always throws me off a little bit is the location of the volume knobs. It's a little different than the Gibsons. You know, the Gibsons usually have these as the volume knob. PRS has these as the volume knobs. Which one makes more sense? I don't really know, but I mean, this is sort of like, you know, front and back, where Gibson has these ones for volume and tone. So it's kind of what it depends on what you prefer. Very, very muddy sound here. Let me just turn everything up. All right. I don't like this sound, guys. Let me just see here. The cleaner sound is always nicer, right? Not tuned, but still close enough. Very clean sound, beautiful guitar. Shown this one before. For those of you who haven't seen it, I'm going to show it to you again. I know Mark likes the PRS guitars as well. This is very close to my core PRS that I have as well, the 245 model. I like this one. This is a newer model with the signature in the headstock instead of the big 245 lettering, which I really don't like. I'm glad they went to the signature and they made the 245 smaller, put it on the truss rod here. So if you're not, you know, you don't really want to see the 245, it's something that you could remove. The SE is there, but very small. I think it's a lot more elegant than what they had previously, and I'm glad they changed that. The top, very nice looking top as well. The bridge, very similar to the bridge on the core model as well. I changed the pickups on the SEs that I have most of the time. That's one of the things that I don't really think that I usually like on the SEs. Their pickups are a little bit lacking, so I changed the pickups in here. I don't remember what I put in here, to be honest with you. I changed all of my pickups. I have to go back into my videos to remember which ones I put in here. But I did a full review on this guitar if you guys want to have more detail on it. All of my guitars have been reviewed, so you can actually see those. Bird inlays, everything else in the back is really pretty much like the core line. Great, great guitar. I love the SEs. Used, I think these are probably one of the best values you can get out there in terms of quality for used guitars. They're just great. There's like no issues with them. Solid guitars. Beyond the pickups, there's not much else to do. So I highly recommend them. I know a lot of other people like them as well. Some don't, but you know, maybe it's just a question of taste and what you like in terms of fretboard, in terms of radius, in terms of neck feel. But for me, these guitars play like butter. So let me jump down to some of the questions here. Bruce says if an amp is designed correctly, the metal enclosure is fully grounded to the earth connection on the power cord and is extremely safe, no different than touching metal casing on your guitar jack. Okay, that reassures me a little bit, but I think, like, you know, the issue is if there's anything wrong and there's maybe an issue with the ground or something gets loose within the cabinet, then what happens? Isn't like wood a better insulator than metal? Like an extra layer of protection, kind of? Tonefish is saying, I'm feeling that 60s double bound Telecaster. Okay, Tonefish, I'll probably pull that one out as well in a little bit. Has anyone tried a Gibson Les Paul with a weight relieved body? That would be me. Tarka, I do have one that has a weight relieved body. I think a lot of them actually, a lot of the newer ones are weight relieved. Makes a huge difference in just comfort. I don't know if it makes a huge difference in tone. I know there's a lot of people that are going to maybe argue this point and say that, you know, a full body without any weight relief is going to be better. It's going to sound better. I don't want to start that debate. If you think it's better, then it's great. I've played a Gibson Les Paul that did not have a weight relieved body. One of my friends has a Black Beauty, and it's really a heavy guitar. And although it's a great looking guitar, it's not the best guitar to play. I get a sore back after I stand with something heavy on my shoulders for a while, and I can't imagine, being able to play that guitar all night long. Seth says my first Pesley California custom hardtail Strat sold on Reverb last night. Congratulations, Seth. Awesome. Finally starting to sell instruments I've made. Is exciting, lovingly assembled with meticulous care. Yeah, they become your babies. It's hard to sell them after a while, isn't it, Seth? I mean, you know, you put so much love and attention into each one, and at the end of the day, you got to give them away. But I guess it's nice to see them going to a nice home. You know, getting them into the hands of somebody that appreciates the craftsmanship is always great. So congratulations on that. So if anybody wants to check out some of Seth's handiwork, you can go to his Reverb channel or his Reverb page. Seth, you can plug in your Reverb page for any of the people that don't already know about it. Alan wants to see one of my custom builds. Okay, we'll do that. Jeff says, Victory do a bigger range of amps in the wooden sleeve. I have the Sheriff 22 and a V30 Mark II, both great amps. Sheriff is favorite though. I agree, Jeff. The Sheriff is a great amp. Congratulations on that. Honestly, I would have probably pulled the trigger on that amplifier a long time ago if there was a distributor of the amp closer to me. There isn't. The one that carries that line is pretty far away, not easy to get to. So I would probably, like, I don't like buying new stuff sight unseen. And although I've watched videos, you can't really tell how an amp feels just by watching videos. You know, sometimes you think it's gonna feel really great, and you find out it's a really stiff feeling amplifier when you play it live. Some of the Mesa amps that I've tried were like that. They didn't have enough squish to them. They were a little bit too stiff feeling for me, except for the Lone Star. I think the Lone Star was one of the ones that had a little bit more squish. Is that a technical term? That's the term I use, but if you guys play, you'll know what I mean. So yeah, I like to be able to try the amplifier in person and really get a good understanding of what it sounds like before I actually buy something. So since I wasn't able to do that, I delayed the purchase. I still had the intention of eventually probably picking one up, but I kind of, that ship kind of sailed and I got distracted with other stuff, as usually often happens with me. So it's still in the back of my mind. If one should pop up locally at a good price, eventually I will check it out. And who knows, maybe, you know, it'll be enough for me to swap that with one of the other amps that I already have for that Marshall tone. But until then, it remains to be seen. Paul says you can get the Sheriff in standard wood casing. It has an early Marshall vibe to the look. I've seen it. The only thing I don't like about the Sheriff amps is that big logo. It's not the nicest logo. It's like that crest. I don't know. I mean, it's cool, but it's like, it's really overbearing in terms of the size. They really want you to see that crest. So one of the things they can maybe work on for the future. All right. Let me just grab here. Any other questions? Any other questions regarding the PRS while I have it in my hands? Beautiful sounding guitar. Can do everything. This guitar can do heavy sounds as well as clean sounds very, very well. Humbuckers nice and warm. The humbuckers, once they're swapped out, make this guitar an outstanding guitar. I guess the budget type of PRS pickups that they put into the guitars, the SE line, for me, I don't know. It's a shame that some of the PRS guitars don't have better pickups. There are a couple pickups in the line that are really, really good. For PRS guitars, the ones that they use, the real like PRS branded guitar pickups, but often I find that you can get better sound with other aftermarket pickups, so I don't hesitate to take those out and just change them. Of course, I'm a sucker for the raw nickel covers. I just think they look so sexy on all the guitars, and that's usually what I go for, is a raw nickel if I get an opportunity to upgrade my pickups and the raw nickel covers are available. They just age so nicely, give you that vintage vibe after a while. Yeah, the breaking of a headstock, a Gibson headstock, doesn't surprise me. I'm just, you know, I guess it's interesting that it happened on video. I don't know if that was staged or not or what, but you know, maybe it was already broken and they just made it look like it happened on video. I haven't seen the video myself, but I'm curious to see what it is. I guess Gibson wouldn't be very happy that that video is out. Seth says, Tony PRS, that's the one to play, so sweet. Yeah, I agree. A very, very nice guitar. Fat Philosopher says he would prefer the Kiesel Zeus acoustics over the I can't even pronounce it. The Acoustronic, whatever. Anyways, Strat Acoustic. Alan says that he had one a few years ago, sounded poor as an acoustic and so-so when amplified. That's the thing. That's my recollection. You know, Kramer had a similar style guitar way, way, way back in the late 80s, I think it was, where they had a Kramer style Strat body with the neck and everything, and it didn't sound good. And it didn't sound good, like Alan says, it didn't sound good, you know, unplugged, and it didn't sound that great plugged either. So it really is just a thing to, you know, have around the house if you want to actually strum an acoustic style guitar, but have it look like an electric. It's just the thrill of having that. But if you want that thrill, you can go to Harley Benton and grab one of theirs for, you know, pretty a lot less money, and maybe scratch that itch that way. All right, so Mark finally piped in there about what the pedals he purchased are. The SA Kingmaker Fuzz, Vertigo Trem, Rampler, Ratsbane, J-Rocket 10-ton Hammer, EVH 5150 Overdrive, TC Electronic Arena Reverb, Marshall Jackhammer, Dunlop Hendrick Fuzz, and Classic Fuzz Bogner Lagrange. So I can definitely see a trend there, Mark. Definitely into the drive sounds more than anything there. A lot of, you know, you're talking fuzz, you're talking drive, you're talking jackhammer. You got a nice reverb, the TC Electronic, the Arena Reverb. Why did you go with that one? Just out of curiosity, instead of something a little bit more like flexible with a lot of the different reverbs, like the Hall of Fame or something like that. Just wondering on that. The fuzz, so you're into the loud, more aggressive tones, I assume here. Mark is all about the used market, he says, and that's the way to do it. I'm the same, Mark. I dodged the bullets a couple of times this week with some acquisitions I came so close to actually getting. I'll talk about that in a minute. All right. Fat Philosopher says the amp I bought usually goes for 175 used, but I picked it up for 75. Nice deal. So I'll tell you about a deal just in a minute. Let me just grab the, I think somebody wanted to see the Telecaster. So let me grab the Telecaster there, and I'll talk to you about a couple of deals that I came across that I almost snagged up. One sec. Talk amongst yourselves for a second. All right, so I'm gonna it amazes me when these guitars are still in tune, because I haven't actually played this one in a while. Pretty nice sound on this one as well. I'll go to the going to the neck. You can hear the difference in the bite when I go to the neck and the bridge. This is the bridge, this is the neck, and this is the middle. I like the middle. Has a nice combo of both as well. This guitar, believe it or not, is one of my custom builds as well. I changed the neck on this guitar. I actually changed the pickups on this guitar. These are a set of Sanford magnetic pickups. This is his low wind set. Sounds really good. Sanford magnetic make really nice pickups. Again, raw nickel cover on the neck one as well. The bridge is brass. These are not compensated. These are barrel style bridge bridge saddles in brass. Really nice looking guitar, both front and back. 3-tone sunburst. Love this guitar. It really is a sweet playing guitar. The neck on this one is a little bit thicker, but it has such a nice clean sound, cutting sound. It's not like harsh, and it's still warm. That's why I love it so much. And I'm super happy with this guitar. Any of you looking at a nice Telecaster should definitely check this one out. The saddles on the Telecaster make a huge difference in my opinion. If you don't like the way your Telecaster plays, definitely try upgrading the saddles. It makes a big difference in tone and just the way the guitar feels overall. I tried the compensated brass saddles, and I haven't made up my mind if I like them. They sound good. You're able to get them intonated a little bit easier, but the round ones sound just as good in my opinion, and they have something a little different about them. I can't put my finger on it, but they sound good to me. So whether or not it's worth upgrading them, that's up to you. But they just sound really nice to my ears. Sorry, I'm just looking at some of the. How would it cost? This is Ben asking this question. I guess it's how much would it cost to buy the custom Telecaster these days in Canadian dollars, and can you buy it new, or would you have to find it used? I don't know what the price on these are right now in Canada. I can tell you in a second here. I'll just do a quick. They're not cheap. This is a 60s, so let's see if I can pop something up quickly for you here. I know on Reverb they're going for anywhere between $1,700 and $3,000 depending on the age. You can also get the classic vibe if you're on a budget for $599, which is a good deal. Gets you most of the way there. If you want an original 60s Telecaster with a rosewood fingerboard, right now it's $2,599 in Canada. So they're not giving them away at all. Cheers, guys. Let me just scroll down here. Randy, how are you? Mark likes the Bacchus. Yeah, the Bacchus is a rock machine. It really is a fun guitar to play, Mark. Fat Philosopher says there's a Bacchus lefty in my local pawn shop, but not in the market for a Strat copy. So let me tell you a little bit about sorry, I'm just scrolling down I'm halfway in the chat here, so I'm falling way behind. Maserati Nation says, Tony, if you need another Hercules guitar stand, I see one for 5 guitars for $80. I don't need another Hercules one. I don't need any more guitar stands. What I'm trying to do is trying to get the guitars off the stands. I don't like to keep my guitars on the stands. I usually keep them in racks, in the cases, in racks. And I'm running out of cases, and I'm running out of racks. So I have them here, but I don't like to keep them out like this. Luckily, there's not a lot of people that come into this room, so that I feel that they're safe enough. But I kind of just, it irks me when I see guys that have the guitars on the wall on these Hercules little grip stand things, because it's just a matter of time before something fails and you smash a guitar on the floor. And I really don't like that. Yeah, the PRS single cuts in lefties are not that common, Jeff, but you can probably find them if you're patient enough. The Hercules stands are good. Nothing against the Hercules stands. It's just that I don't feel confident whenever something is hanging. I prefer to have it like sitting on something, or leaning on something than just hanging there. And the Hercules stands, for those of you that don't know, they grip your guitar by the neck, but they don't really support the bottom of your guitar. So that always stresses me a little bit. So one of the things I wanted to talk about is that one of the amps that I was looking at, I came very, very close, guys, to actually buying a DSL 40C. I don't know why. I just came across one, heard good things about it, saw it, emailed the seller about it, dropped the price to like $500 for the 40, which are typically selling for around $700 here. So the seller wanted to get rid of it, was in mint condition. $500 is a good deal. I figured I could flip it if I didn't like it. But you know what? I didn't buy it. And I'm going to pat myself on the back on that one. Not that the DSL is a bad amplifier. A lot of people love that amplifier. It does have a couple of shortcomings to it. I didn't buy it because I was listening to a whole bunch of videos before I actually went or was going to go to pick it up. And I was just trying to convince myself that I was making the right decision. Not that the DSL is a bad sounding amplifier, because it isn't. It's a good sounding amplifier. But honestly, I was listening to it from the perspective of the amps that I have here, specifically the Black Star that I have. And honestly, I think my Black Star sounds better than the DSL. I know some of you won't agree with me on that, but honestly, I feel that it's a much more flexible amplifier. Has a lot of great sounds in that amplifier. You can get a lot of gain. You can get edge of breakup all the way to really saturated gain with it. You have two independent channels you can switch between with a voicing on it as well. You have the ability to go with EL34s or 6L6 tone on a knob. Reverb sounds good. Direct out, effects loop, sound in terms of volume has the switch to go down, to drop down the volume on the Black Star. So it's almost like Black Star was trying to aim for the DSL in many ways with this particular model. The clean sounds good as well. So I was this close to going and get it. And I changed my mind. Last minute I called and I said, or texted the person. I said, sorry, I'm not going to be coming by, even though it was a great deal. I could have simply bought the amplifier to flip it. And that was like that was the intention that was popping into my brain, but I didn't want the hassle. I said, forget it. So I just let it be. And it's still available if anybody's looking for a good sounding amplifier that you want to get for cheap. But I didn't buy it. So is that a good thing? Should I be complimented on the fact that I didn't buy it, or are you guys upset at me that I didn't buy that one? Let me know what you think. I want your opinion, guys. Let me know. They're great amplifiers, Chris. They're great amplifiers. I agree with you. I don't think they're bad. And they definitely have that Marshall sound. But a lot of the ones that I've seen, especially since this is an older one, it's not the CR. Like your guitar, your amp, Chris, is the CR, which is the later version. This one was the C, which is an earlier version. Some people say that the drive on the DSL gets a little bit fizzy when you at a certain point. So there was that. Some people say it sounds better if you change the speaker and put something else in there. Some people have mods for it. Again, I didn't need another Marshall amplifier, and I think the ones that I have here, including the Brunetti, of course the Friedman, and the Black Star in a combo, scratched that itch for me, so I didn't really need to get another one. So I think I'm getting to the point, guys, now that I'm becoming a little bit more picky about what I bring in. I won't just buy something to buy something unless it's curiosity. I might, for the heck of it, go rent one and maybe just try it and see if it really is something that I bond with. Maybe if I rent it and try it out for a day or two and see that I really like it, maybe I can still grab it. But I'm not that interested in it at the moment. So if you guys have one, let me know if you think I did the right thing or not. So Dave says, I have the DSL, definitely fizzy. Jeff says, well done. So I guess I'm getting a little bit closer to controlling my gas. But I mean, not that I wasn't looking for other stuff, because yeah, definitely that one tempted me. You know, I'm a sucker for a good Marshall, but I have the, you know, I also have the Marshall Plexi, Studio Plexi here. So guys, I mean, I was looking at a lot of comparison videos where they were actually playing the DSL against other Marshall type amps, including the Plexi. It was pretty close. So I'm pretty sure I can get some very, very close sounds if I just go through the Plexi and maybe boost it with a pedal. Maybe even get a better sound. I don't know, but I mean, considering that I have those amps, I just felt it was redundant. I'm constantly looking for something better. And Seth, thank you for saying that I have the best amps, but I mean, honestly, I'm always looking for something better, especially in a combo. I'm like, what can I get out there that I don't already have, you know? And the only one that I can think of right now off the top of my head is the Princeton, because as far as Fender goes, I think the Princeton is a really nice amplifier, and I'm constantly looking for one at a decent price, you know, and hoping to get one under $1,000. But it's getting very, very rare to come across those amps under $1,000 anymore. They're usually around $1,200. But if I come across something interesting, maybe a limited edition or something like that, I might still grab one. I don't know. So Alex wants to know, do you use an attenuator with your Marshall Plexi Studio? I often do. Recently, I got rid of the attenuator and I just play straight. And it sounds great without the attenuator too. It's loud, a little bit too loud for home use, but you can get a really nice sound even without the attenuator. And sometimes sometimes I'll put the attenuator. It depends on how I feel and what I'm trying to go for. It's nice to have the attenuator because you have added flexibility, especially at home, but it definitely sounds better without it. So if you can play without the attenuator, I would recommend that. Okay. What did I miss here? Hey man, recently started using coated strings, and while tapping, I saw some plastic type cover coming off the strings. Is it a major problem, or will it only rust that part of the string? Okay, so I used to have coated strings on some of my acoustic guitars, and I had the same experience. Eventually, the plastic does start to flake off on some of these strings. I don't know what brand you're using, but I think the ones I had were maybe the Martin coated ones. I don't remember. It was a while ago. But anyways, yeah, they do start to flake off. In my opinion, once the coating starts to flake off, it's time to change the strings because they become rubber band sounding after a while. They become dead. So I would say change the strings. Yeah, eventually they'll rust in those areas if you have a lot of sweat on your fingers. Not a big deal, however. You can still keep on playing them if they don't sound dead to you. But I would change those out and maybe go with a different brand and see if the coating on some of the other brands are better, last longer. In my opinion, I'm not a big fan of the coated strings. I don't have a big issue with like super sweaty fingers, so my strings don't tarnish as quickly. And the price that I pay the coated strings, I could probably buy 3 sets of regular strings. So I'll just go with the regular ones because I like to change my strings often. Guys, if I missed any of your comments, because I'm scrolling down. If I missed any of your comments, please repost your question. Just copy and paste that at the bottom, because I'm pretty sure I could have missed a few along the way. Dan says, or Seth says, the Mesa Nomad. I haven't tried the Nomad, Seth. I should check it out. I kind of made up my mind that I'm not a Mesa guy now, unless Mesa comes out with some other stuff. They're great amps. I know they sound great. They're very durable amplifiers. They're very flexible amplifiers. But it's just that I've tried so many along the way that I didn't end up keeping, that I'm kind of hesitant right now to try another one. But honestly, I'm always attracted by the Mesa stuff. If they do come out with another amplifier, I will definitely pay attention. The last one I tried was a triple crown, which was a monster of an amplifier. But again, it didn't have... There's just something about the Mesa thing. I think it's just the compression. It doesn't have the compression that I like. The one that I like the best of all the Mesa amps, there was two of them that I felt were outstanding amplifier, was the Lone Star, except it weighed a ton. You need a forklift to like lift that thing around. All of the Mesa stuff is very, very heavy. But that was one of my favorite amplifiers that maybe I should have kept, but I did sell. And the Electrodyne. The Electrodyne was a great amplifier. The only thing that I didn't like as much about the Electrodyne, and that was the simplest model that they had. It looked like it was kind of like one channel, 3 gain stages, but one channel thing. It was the closest you can get to like a Marshall type layout. Very simple. No push-pull stuff. Had a really great reverb on it. Built like a tank. Also very heavy. I had the head version of that. You can see that in my early videos. Great head. The only thing was that it was a little bass heavy. It was a little bit hard to get the spank out of that one, because it was had a little bit more of a fuller bottom end, but it sounded great. I had that one in a combo, and then sold the combo and got the head, and then sold the head. So I played around with quite a bit. The combo was, again, super heavy. Very, very heavy amplifier. Who knows, maybe eventually I'll buy one again. I think that one was discontinued, but maybe they're still floating around on eBay and stuff. So if I find one, I might actually grab it again, because I like it. It's a great quality, solid amplifier. Jeff says the one thing that the Sheriff 22 has is a dedicated 0.3 watt speaker out for home use. And those are the type of things that I'm looking for more these days in terms of a flexible combo head amplifier, is just the low wattage option. The ones that I have here, except for the Friedman and my Supersonic, the Brunetti has a low wattage switch. The Blackstar has a low wattage switch. The Marshall has a low wattage switch. And that's what I'm looking for. I just want the ability to actually play, with a more manageable volume, because it's getting to the point where I'm losing my hearing, guys. And it's not fun. Cohen says, I think going the Fender amp route is the way to go if you already have the Marshall side covered. I do have the Marshall side covered, unless there's something else that pops up that I want to try. The Supersonic has me covered for the time being on the Fender side, but maybe a lower wattage Fender amplifier for home use would be nicer. So that's why I'm looking at the Princeton. I just wish Fender would come out with a Princeton style, like a modern version of the Princeton, with an effects loop, with a mid knob, and maybe just a little bit more wattage so you can actually play with a band, I think they have the Pro, the new Pro reverb is kind of what they're aiming for there, but it's a little different than the Princeton. But I might want to check that one out. I just feel like I need a little bit more volume, just in case I do want to bring it with to play with a band. The Princeton wouldn't probably work for that, but it just sounds so sweet. Dan says, in my opinion, the Fender Blackface Princeton or the Silverface Deluxe Reverb are the perfect Fender combos. Dan, I had an opportunity to trade my Supersonic for a Blackface Deluxe Reverb, and I didn't do it. I had them here. I have a video on that side by side, and at the end of the day, in that video, the Deluxe sounded better in the recording, but the Supersonic sounded better in the room. And a lot of people mentioned that the Deluxe sounded better, but the amps were not dialed in. They were just set to like pretty much midpoints in the EQ because I wanted it to be a fair comparison. But honestly, if you tweak the Supersonic and set the EQ the way you want it to be, it sounds fantastic. And in my opinion is more flexible than the Blackface Deluxe because it does have two independent channels. It does have the burn channel, has the clean channel, has the effects loop. A lot of things that the Deluxe doesn't have, but the Deluxe does sound good. So again, I came really, really close to pulling the trigger on that, but I ended up keeping the one I already had. And I had to mention that in that video, I returned the Supersonic back to stock with the speaker. Before that, I had a different speaker in that amp, and it sounded way better than the speaker that you're hearing, the stock speaker that you're hearing in the comparison video. So for those reasons, I decided I was better off keeping the Supersonic. Lempu wants to know what guitar strings I recommend for long life and non-dead sound because my fingers sweat more than a pig in a slaughterhouse and it leads to a ton of problems, so I usually powder my hands. Okay, well, I'm sorry to hear that. I don't have that issue. There's a couple of them, a couple of companies that make, actually most companies nowadays make coated strings. The ones I think I tried, they weren't the Martins, they were the Elixir strings. The Elixir string, I think the Adagio has coated strings now, or Ernie Ball has coated strings. I couldn't really tell you which ones are the best because I don't really play around with them, but maybe other people here can give you some advice on that. The NYXL, I can never get that straight, are good as well. A little expensive. House of Twang, hey, welcome. Are you new? I haven't seen you around here before. If you are new, welcome. Don't be shy. Ask some questions. The Fillmore series, Mark, has intrigued me, and I would love to try those amps. The question is, and maybe you can answer this question, Mark. They're very similar to, I think they're trying to get a little closer to that Fender sound, right? So is it worthwhile getting the Fillmore and trying to get that vibe, or just stick with a Fender amp, you know, and just go with the Fender clean? So I'm a little bit hesitant to buy or to go look at the Fillmore, but it sounds good from what I can tell. And I know you have one, so maybe you can fill me in on what you think in terms of the overall sound, comparing it to what's out there with Fender. Keeping in mind that, you know, yes, Fender maybe doesn't have a great drive channel. Maybe the Fillmore could drive a little nicer than you can drive a Fender, but keep in mind that there's great pedals out there that can get you very close. So is it worth it? And also in terms of cost, you know. My wife recently went through every closet, under every bed, and even checked the garage. I was impressed. The count was only 17. We made a list of what's going. I'm keeping 6 plus projects in progress. Wow. Seth, what did you do, man? Sounds like she was on a rampage that day. Holy mackerel. So out of 17, you're going to keep 6. That's a big chunk of gear that's going. I don't know if I should be congratulating you or giving you my sympathies. I'm not really sure, Seth. Yeah, Larry recommends the NYXL, and so does Fat Philosopher. So I guess that's a set you can possibly just give a try to. Maserati Nation says, Tony, I'll be receiving my Tone King Gremlin in late Q1 2020. If you want to try it, I can bring it over. I'd love to try it, man. Sure. Why not? I'd love to. Nothing I enjoy more than just spending time with other gearheads and just, you know, talking gear. Nothing I could think of to pass the time better than that. House of Twang. I have a Fender Supersonic 22. It's good. It's a good value bedroom amp. I'm not sure if it's a bedroom amp. The Supersonic's pretty loud, man. I mean, if you're playing, yeah, you can play it in bedroom levels, even though it doesn't have a half power switch. It's definitely loud. I mean, you could crank the crap out of a 22. To be in the sweet spot with a 22, you're gonna have to be around between 4 and 6, and that's loud. So I wouldn't consider it a bedroom amp. So I don't know how you're playing it. Curious. Fill me in on that, please. Seth says she can't count the ones at work, though. Working in a guitar works has limitless benefits. So what do? You bring some of your favorite ones over at work and keep them there. Our little secret. I always hesitate what I say because, you know, we don't know who's watching here. One of the other things I wanted to say was that one of the things that I'm really gassing over, guys, and is, you know, something that maybe some of you have tried, maybe some of you don't even know, is the exotic SP compressor. I had a very cheap compressor on my board that I just got for the time being. And I really like having a compressor on my board. And I've been looking at the exotic stuff. I have the EP booster on my pedal board, which is always there. I haven't removed that pedal in ages off the pedal board. But I need a better quality compressor. And I was looking at the exotic SP compressor. Doesn't pop up used all that often. I was hoping to find one on the used market because they are a little expensive. I haven't seen one, but I'm keeping my eyes open for one, and I'm going to probably end up getting one. I'm aiming for that one. I hear only good things about it. Unless somebody has a better option for a good quality compressor or a better quality compressor at a better price, let me know. But I feel you need a compressor on your pedal board. Do some of you use compressors, or is that one of the pedals that you guys often overlook on your pedal board and maybe don't feel like you need as much? Yeah, the Pro Reverb is 40 watts, which to me is too much wattage for a Fender amp because 40 is loud for Fender. Like, they should have put out the Pro Reverb mark as a 20 watt option, you know, 20, 22 watt. 40 is a lot, you know, so it would have been better. I would have to try that particular amp. I didn't try it yet. I've only watched some videos on it. I like the fact that it is a little bit more flexible. I don't know if it has an effects loop. I think they probably didn't put an effects loop in it. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, if you have the stats in front of you there. Does it have an effects loop? A friend of mine has the original Pro Reverb and he loves it. Take it easy, Jeff. Enjoy the rest of the week, my friend. Charles says, finish the fabric top project and put up a video on the process. Cool, I'm going to check that out. Definitely want to check out any guitar builds you guys have. Lempu says, I just usually wrap my guitar neck with a towel and it kind of keeps the strings quite well, but wrapping and unwrapping that every time I play is no fun. What you can do, Lampu, is they do have a little device which is basically a little flat plastic device that has sponge on either side. It looks like a little book that opens up and closes, and you can actually take that and wrap it around your strings. You just slide it under your strings and close it, and then just slide it up and down your fretboard after you're playing your guitar, after you're finished playing it. And I feel that's one of the ways to extend the life on your strings, is just to clean the strings after you're playing, before you put it in your case, just to get the acid from your fingers off the strings, and it usually will extend the life. Very inexpensive. You can buy this, I don't know where you can buy this, probably on eBay, or you can just search fret cleaner. You can also coat your frets with some products that are out there that tend to make the strings slick. They usually help a little bit because they lubricate the strings a little bit. So they clean the strings and lubricate the strings a little bit more. so it keeps the acid from your fingers off the strings. And I think that's generally what you want to do. So Seth uses Dry Glide. Okay, there you go. There's another product. On my hands now, I'm working on guitars. It's really great, kind of like a rock climber with the powdered hands, but really reduces skin oil transfer. So that'll work. So Mark says the Fillmore to me is like Fendery cleans with great usable gain channel, and to me the gain channel can do Marshall or the Mesa sound, not high gain like a rectifier, very sweet vintage gain. Mark, you're tempting me now. Sounds exactly like what everybody's looking for, that Fender clean with that Marshall-y kind of gain. I'm sure the Fillmore has an effects loop. Does it have a boost, like a boost switch on the foot switch? And do you usually use the clean with pedals, or do you usually use just the gain channel? Is the gain channel enough, is what I mean. I might have to check that one out. I've been meaning to check it out. I mean, it's a nice looking amplifier. The other thing that is giving me hesitation on the Mesa stuff is now that they're owned by Gibson, what's going to happen? You know, are they going to obsolete a lot of the line and come up with some other stuff? I'm curious to see what they're going to come up with. I'm curious to see the first amp they're going to come up with after the acquisition. Should be interesting. Are they going to raise the price? Are the prices going to stay the same? Are they going to go lower? Is the quality going to change? So many questions. All right. Lampu says, I usually see bass players have this ultra tight glove on their hands, I guess. So I was just wondering if it can be used for guitars, but the string playing accuracy would go out the window. I haven't seen anybody using any kind of gloves for that type of thing. So House of Twang says he plays it clean on about 3. Have you ever tried just boosting it a little bit higher, going between 5 and 6 just to see the difference in sound? It's crazy. There's a huge difference. It opens up the amp tremendously. Take it easy, Hangover Green. Yeah, it's loud. The Supersonic for 20 watt with a fixed bias is loud. That's what I'm saying. 40 is even louder on the Pro Reverb. It's a little too loud. Bruce says, have you seen the Emerald Virtuo guitar? I know someone who has one and it's absolutely amazing. Very seriously thinking of buying one. Unfortunately, lots of dollar signs. No, I haven't seen it. Or maybe I have seen it. Sometimes I come across so much stuff, guys, I don't even remember what I see anymore. But let me just take a look at what this is. And I'll tell you if I saw it. And it's lots of money. The ultimate performance guitar, they say. Let's take a look. They look very nice. Look like they're nicely built. And they're guitar players' editor's pick. So it's a good quality in terms of very interesting design. Yeah, for sure. $3,600, $4,200. Yeah, very expensive. Yeah. It's a little bit, it's out there, but it looks like a very unique guitar. When I look at these guitars, I always ask myself 2 questions that pop up in my brain right away. Am I going to keep it forever? Is it going to be easy to flip? Am I going to lose my money? Those are 3 questions, actually, not 2 questions. Those are the 3 questions that pop into my brain automatically. And oftentimes when a guitar is above a certain price range, in my experience, $2,500 or more, $3,000, if it's not a Gibson or a Fender, tend to be difficult to flip, even if it's a Sir, even if it's, you know, a brand name like Music Man, stuff like that. They have really good quality guitars. They're expensive though. My opinion is that it's going to be difficult to find a buyer at that price. Not a lot of people are going to want to spend that kind of money for a used guitar, and you're going to have to lower the price, and you're going to lose a lot of money on the guitar. So if you don't know if you're going to keep it forever, I would say either wait to see if you can find one on the used market, or perhaps, just see if you can find an alternate that's less expensive that will do the same. But definitely you want to be careful and not jump too quickly. Think about it. There's a lot of great gear you can get for decent money these days, especially on the used market. Maserati Nation says, I have an exotic volume pedal, 250K, the gold one. I haven't had a need for a volume pedal, but the exotic stuff is good. Dave says, I can't get my hands on compression. What's a good tutorial? You can't get your hands. So what? You don't know how to maximize or leverage compression? Is that what you're asking, Dave? Sweet dreams, Fat Philosopher. See you soon, buddy. Ben says at the moment that's all he's using. It's a compressor and a looper. So a lot of people don't know how to use compression, or don't know that they need to use compression. But I mean, there's definitely a huge advantage to using compression if you're playing different styles of music specifically. Number one, you can get more sustain out of it if it's used properly. Number two, you can definitely get more of that spanky sound where everything seems to be kind of squished a little bit. Doesn't apply to all styles of music, but if you're playing funk, or if you're playing something where you need to have a little bit more spank, definitely the compression will do a great job. There's a lot of different ways you can use compression. It's really a question of what sound you're building with your pedal board and what you're after. Two of the most underrated pedals, in my opinion, are the EQ pedal and the compression pedal, because they're pedals that people don't think about. There's pedals that are, people usually think, when they think pedals, they think fuzz, they think delay, chorus, distortion, things that you can actually feel and hear in the sound a lot easier than you can with an EQ pedal, which is kind of transparent, or a compression pedal that tends to be transparent if you use it properly. But after using a compression pedal on my board and then taking it off, I really realize how important a compression pedal is. And I would, I would say the EQ compression pedal and the EP booster are three of the pedals that I've had on my board the longest, and that technically wouldn't come off. I would keep them on there and play with some of the other pedals before I would take those away. So you really have to play around with it. Compression is a little bit harder to get your head around. I agree with you there. But once you see the beauty of a compression pedal, it's hard to give up. Dan says, the first Fender I bought was a twin reverb. Way too much output, but sounded beautiful. Yeah, the twin reverbs are awesome. And if you're playing in a live situation and you need that raw power and the clean headroom, the twin is the way to go. But other than that, it'll kill you. It's just too loud. Maybe a low wattage twin would be the way to go, but I kind of think it's going to be hard for any amp builder, manufacturer, to get the beauty of the twin in a low watt setting. It comes with the territory. Paul says, I sold my exotic compressor for the new Keeley Compressor Mini. I also have the Keeley Compressor Plus. More knobs, more same than different. Yeah, that's one of the things a lot of people mention about the exotic thing, is that it only has two knobs and has the switches on the inside. So a lot of people are kind of thrown off by the fact that it only has the two knobs and the switch in the front, but it does have the mini dip switches on the inside. So once you play around with that and you get a setting that you like, you typically leave it there. A lot of people say that it's fine for that, but the Keeley compressor also gets good reviews as well, and something that I might have to check out as well. The Mini, in your opinion, does the Mini sound as good as the regular sized one, Paul, or did they make compromises to get it into the smaller form factor? That's always something that I'm concerned with. Lampu says, I'm going to learn to play with my teeth like Hendrix and Ingui to avoid this problem. That's cool, man. It's good that you have a sense of humor, buddy. Seth says the 1 Dad's 80 Strat, 2 Dad's 64 Gibson acoustic, 3 Big Brother 72 SG, 4 my Lakewood acoustic, 5 my 80s Carvin DC, 6 Paisley Presley custom. I keep one to play on rotation. Nice collection, man. So Gospel of Mark says, on the Fillmore, no boost. I use one channel clean, the other channel dirty. Boost with pedals. Oh, and mine is the pre-Gibson. So it's going to be worth more. And yes, it has a great quiet effects loop. Sounds like it's a great all-in-one amp. Effects poop. Perhaps the Mesas will get an authentic channel. Maybe. I'm sure they're going to come up with something marketing-wise that's going to be able to up the price a few $100s, maybe more. We'll see. I associate Gibson Les Paul with Marshall, not so much Mesa Boogie. PRS seems to go with Mesa. Yeah, because it's almost like it's a more boutique-y kind of amp. You know, the Mesa to me has always been a little bit on the boutique side because it's known for that type of thing. So I agree with you. The Mesa seems to be more of a, forgive the term, more of a Cork sniffers type of amplifier, which I love, and I had many myself. So I'm not knocking anyone for being a Cork sniffer at all, but the Marshall is more like the historically gainy type of amplifier that's been out there, even with its shortcomings. Marshall's still Marshall, where Mesa is constantly making improvements to their amplifiers and trying to tweak things. Marshall sort of staying in that ballpark of comfort, that comfort zone that they built up over time. Rico says, Tony, did you see I gave your channel Sunday morning hangout on my friend Zim Guitars channel? No, I did not see that. Thank you, Rico. Thank you for pointing that out, buddy. I'll have to check out Zim. If you guys haven't checked him out, check him out as well. Give him some love. Thank you for that, Rico. I appreciate that. Love to see new faces in here. So anything that helps spread the word is also very much appreciated. Rico says he did my Tesla Shark Firefly versus a stock. He did my Tesla Shark Firefly versus a stock Firefly. Is that a comparison video that he did for you? Larry says prices on used guitars is insane. They're going for same as new or more. WTH. I know. I think we're still living the effects of COVID. I think people they lost their mind during COVID. Inventory is low. So a lot of people figured they'd gouge and try and get as much as they can for the used equipment. Prices overall is going up though. I mean, look at the prices in the stores. They're all quietly going up. It's almost like during COVID, people weren't going in the stores, and the companies figured maybe it's a good time to up the price. People won't realize that we've upped the price because they're not going in the stores as much. And maybe we can use the excuses of components or costs are going up. Supply chain is getting difficult. Back orders, all this kind of thing to up the price again. But I mean, when things get back to normal, are the prices going to go down? No, you know. But everything is getting expensive. Price of gas, you know, the cost of getting equipment and components to the door of the manufacturing companies getting expensive. Delay times are getting longer. So yeah, you know, it's I think we're seeing prices go up across the board, and I think we're gonna have to get used to that as well. Seth says, "Yep, my Red Knob USA 90s twin is 85 watts and will melt your face. Limitless clean headroom and crazy good distortion, just so loud, and it doesn't have an effects poop." I don't know too many people that have hung on to their twins. Uh, you know, it's like I don't know how you would play that at home. It's just, and I think even live today, I think a lot of people are not relying on the raw power of an amplifier anymore because you can mic it up. You can go into the board and you can use the house monitors to amplify the sound, and you don't need to have a crazy loud amplifier anymore. So I think the days of you know, people seeing or people wanting or needing a 100-watt amplifier is numbered. I mean, a lot of people, I see a lot of used amp heads, 100-watt amp heads out there. No takers. Who's going to play a 100-watt head? You know, unless you're playing a stadium. Doesn't make sense at this point anymore. Yeah, tone sniffer. Cork sniffer, tone sniffer, kind of the same thing. Timo says, I got a bone nut on my Gibson. Why is it hard to bend? Your bone nut shouldn't affect the bend. I'm trying to figure out what the problem could be. If it's hard to bend, it's usually maybe your strings or the gauge on your strings are too heavy. Have you been playing a long time? Are you a new guitar player, or have you been playing for a long time and suddenly it's gotten difficult to bend? Because it seems like an odd thing to see. It's not the bone nut. The bone nut wouldn't cause an issue with bending. Paul says the exotic is highly colored and it cuts the breadth of the sound. The Keeley Plus would best suit you. Basic tweaking, but not extra stuff like my Duncan Vice Grip, like limiting you would never use. So I should definitely take a look at that. I'm still open to different models. I haven't made up my mind yet, so I'll maybe add that to the list and check it out. Thank you for your advice, Paul. I appreciate that, man. $4.99 a gallon in San Francisco, California. Wow. Yeah, things are getting crazy here too. We're at $1.50 a liter, not a gallon. So Timo says, I have light gauge and I'm playing 10 years and all of a sudden it's getting hard to bend. Odd. What has changed on your guitar, Timo? Because, you know, if you've had that guitar and you've been playing it for 10 years, all of a sudden you think it's getting hard to bend. I don't know. I don't know. I'm a little bit, I'm scratching my head on that one. Maserati Nation says, Tony, I'm having a new house built in Saint Sophie, east of Saint Jerome, on an acre of land, and most construction is $350 a square foot these days in Quebec. It's costing me $264 a square foot for 1,944 square feet. It's expensive, dude. It's expensive. Price has gotten crazy. You know, between I would say, just as a comparison, I built my house in 8 years ago. Price was definitely way less expensive per square foot, and I'm not in Saint Sophie, which is further from Montreal. I'm actually closer to Montreal. So yeah, the prices are going crazy. And I don't think they're going to stop. I think, unfortunately, they're going to keep going up. Hi, Ramilson. How are you, buddy? Thank you for joining us all the way from Brazil. Nice to see you here. Timo says the nut got changed and I stored it. Okay. So the nut got changed and now it's hard to bend. I would have to see a picture of that, man. I'm curious. Would you be able to send me a picture, Timo? If you can send it to my riplead@gmail.com email address, I'd take a look at it and give you my opinion. I'm kind of scratching my head. Unless the nut was somehow messed up, it shouldn't be harder to bend. Unless perhaps this is something you can check. This is the only thing that comes to mind, and guys that are building guitars out there might agree with me or not, or pipe in with your advice. But I'm thinking, what can cause it to be more difficult to bend? If the nut slots are cut too thin for your strings, and your strings are not gliding through the nut slots, it can feel like it's harder to bend because your strings are now binding at the nut and not sliding through the nut slots. So one thing you can do as a test, you can just loosen up one of the strings. Grab one of the middle strings. Here, let me just show you here. Grab one of the middle strings, not the low E or the high E, but one of the middle strings. Just loosen it up and pull it up and see if you can pull it out of the nut slot easily. And then when you pull it out of the nut slot, it shouldn't ping. You should be able to lift it in and out very, very easily. If it snags or if it pings when you pull it out, it means that your nut slots are cut too narrow for your strings. If you changed the gauge of strings when you upgraded your nut, for example, or maybe didn't, it could have an effect on binding strings. Try that out and let me know. And if it is the case, then you would have to just widen out the slots for your nut. That's all I could think of for right now. Hey, William. William said he's late morning. It's okay, William. It's all good as long as you're here. Yeah, there's no point waiting, Maserati Nation. There's no point waiting because in my experience, the cost for homes, land, and building has just gotten very expensive. The price on materials is going up. So the best time to build or buy a home was yesterday. You know, that's what I tell my friends. Like, just go for it. You know, when we bought our house, when we bought our first house, we thought we overpaid. And I think we did overpay, but the prices just kept going up and up and up and up. When we sold, we made quite a bit of money on the home. And, you know, if we would have bought the home sooner, we would have made even more money. So just, yeah, the best time to buy was yesterday. So just don't delay. Hey, Landon, what's up, buddy? Nice to see you here. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, if the tech changed something along the way, the only thing I could think of is really just string gauge. You know, if he upped the string gauge for you, maybe you were playing nines and all of a sudden he put tens, or maybe you were playing eights or even lighter gauge strings and he upped the gauge and he didn't tell you. That would change the feel a lot. So perhaps you can ask him and just see what he put there. Cohen agrees with me. He says changes in tension when bending points to the nut. What else would it be? To me, Cohen, agree with me or not, I think it would either be the string tension was changed because a heavier gauge string was used. Even if you go up one gauge, it makes a difference. And maybe the nut slot wasn't cut properly, maybe too thin. Rico says, how is your Frankie project going? It's going well. What did I do recently? I aged part of the components that I'm going to be using there so that it would blend with the rest of the hardware. Aging metal is not an easy thing to do, so I was experimenting with different things. Different types of metal will age quicker or slower than other types of metal. But I haven't, I'm at the point now where I need to paint it the red. And that's the most challenging part because it's not an easy thing to see when you're staring at the original Frankie and you're looking at the red. Now you're looking at the red, the white, and the black, and it's very confusing as to, you know, how exactly he applied the tape, whether or not he wrapped it or it was like smaller pieces of tape. I think when he got to the red, unlike the white where he wrapped the tape around the guitar like a mummy in one like long kind of wrap, when he got to the red, I think what he ended up doing is he applied the tape across this side of it. And then he basically strung the tape, smaller pieces of tape across the front and the back, which kind of makes it easier. But at the same time, the thickness of the tape that he was using is not consistent. There's a 2 or 3 different size tape strips that he was using, so you have to be careful on how and where and what he applied. And then there's like a little extra pieces that he put in there, but I'm getting close, and that's going to be the next step. So I need to spend some time setting that up and getting that done, and I'm just super excited to get that done because the next step is putting it all together and actually seeing the labors of your efforts come together. And I also have to kind of age the neck a little bit because the neck is brand new and it's clean and his isn't. So I got to experiment with a few different ways of making the neck look a little bit more grungy and used. I do have a couple of tricks that I use, including some oils and mixtures of some different types of things that will make the neck look a little older and used up. A lot of people use like, you know, things like, you know, brown shoe polish or something like that. I don't really like using the shoe polish thing. It's hard to mimic years and years of nicotine and sweat and just grime off the fingers. It's not an easy thing to do. But there are techniques that I've used to age wood, and it's worked very, very well, including the tannins from tea bags mixed with vinegar, and just the rust from a steel wool. That will, you know, you apply the tea to the wood, then you apply this mixture to it, and it instantly just ages the wood, and it turns like a grayish color, almost like immediately. But that might be a little bit too aggressive for what I need to do here. So I'm going to play with different things. But once it's all put together, you can bet your bottom dollar I'm going to be showing you the results of it. And I can't wait to try it and put in a pickup in there and get it done. You know, have everything lined up. Should be pretty cool. Does anyone know what strings Gibson ships with? I assume they're 9s or 10s. Probably 9s. I can't be 100% sure on that though. William says, just woke up, got a Revv G20 on the way, stoked about it. Nice, William. Congratulations on that. Revv makes some awesome stuff. It really does. I love to support Canadian companies, and Revv is one of them. So I'm sure you're going to be super happy once it arrives. Timo says, I put slinky 10s. So are the 10s what you had previously, or is this what you normally put in there? Yeah, Cohen says, when he starts playing a guitar and it feels stiff, I automatically look at the nut first. Me too. I mean, the nut has a lot to do with the feel of the guitar for sure. So Seth is looking at reducing his guitar collection or the herd because he's building an ADU small 1,000 square foot home in California. Building next to my wife's mom's place. She's 80. Someone's got to be around, right? Yeah, for sure, man. Family comes first. I'm surprised how many people are actually moving away from California due to the high prices. A lot of people are migrating over to Houston, to Texas. Dan says, finally received my Snouse Black Box OD this week after 14 months. Nice blues breaker pedal, great for soloing. 14 months? That's how long it took you to get the pedal, Dan? Wow, man, you got patience. I wouldn't be able to wait 14 months for anything. Wow. Crazy, man. Congratulations on that one. I hope it was worth the wait, man. Nothing's worse than waiting for that length of time just to get something and it's like, meh, wasn't that great, you know? Larry says, I've never teabagged my wood. Sorry, guys. Larry, come on. There's the line. Larry has to cross the line. I knew somebody was going to comment on that. Was just waiting for it. Crazy, man. Crazy. You know what's funny, guys? I like watching the rig rundowns that they have on certain channels when they're looking at people's rigs. And I watched one recently. It was a rig rundown on Eric Clapton's rig. And, you know, everybody knows Eric. And I was so surprised to learn that his rig is so simple. There's hardly anything. Whoever's, you know, his guitar tech and doing, you know, his work has a really easy job. There's nothing there. Basically, what he's running right now, if I remember correctly, are a set of dual Showman reissue, dual Fender reissue Bandmaster amps. He's got two of them, and he's going basically into the amps without anything else beyond, I think, a wah pedal, and I think some kind of Leslie simulation for certain songs. That's it. That's all he's playing, and I'm like, how does he get the gain? But I know his guitars are powered. They're not passive, so he gets a lot of gain out of the volume knob. It's basically like a pedal within the guitar, his circuit. So he doesn't really need a pedal on the ground. And that's how he gets his tone, and I was really surprised. I thought for sure he'd be using more stuff than that, but that's all he's going through. But if you think you're going to be able to get your, you know, sound like him out of your guitar and amp combination, even if you do have a reissue Bandmaster, think again, because those reissue Bandmasters are not stock at all. You know, and that's sort of deceiving because, you know, these guys are pitching the Fender products and whatnot, but those Bandmasters were built from the ground up by Alexander Dumble. So I don't know if you guys know who Alexander Dumble is, but he's the creator of Dumble amps that basically cost like over 100 grand if you want to buy them these days. He basically built those Bandmasters from the ground up for Eric with, you know, old stock and completely hand-wired components. And so yeah, they're not run-of-the-mill Bandmasters, you know, even though Fender would like you to believe that they are. They're not. So that's what you're dealing with, you know. But anyways, it's interesting to see that, you know, it's such a simplistic setup that he's going with. I guess the tones and the fingers, you know. I don't think he's still using lace sensor pickups, Alan. I think he's using some other type of pickups. They're still active, but I'm not sure they're still the lace brand. Take it easy, Cohen. Nice to see you drop in, buddy. All right, guys, I think we're going to have to wrap it up. I've again went over by an hour. I said I was going to stay on for about an hour or so. It's almost been 2 hours. So I'm going to have to start wrapping it up, guys. If you guys haven't seen the poll or haven't taken the poll, I'm just going to close with that. The poll question for today was, what is your go-to guitar shape? Sorry, not the guitar shape. Sorry. What is your go-to guitar neck radius? And if you haven't taken the poll, please go to my channel and take the poll and just pipe in as to what your favorite radius is, be it a more vintage 7.5, 9.5, 10, 12. I know there's in between radiuses and, you know, compound radiuses and stuff like that. I didn't really list all of them. I could only really list 5 questions in the poll, and after that it maxes out at 5, so I kind of have to limit it. I know there's other radiuses out there, but let me know what you guys think in terms of what your favorite radius is on guitars. For me, I like a lot of different radiuses. I don't necessarily stick to one. There's definitely better feeling necks out there for me. I like the compound radiuses as well. On some of the vintage Strats, I have the 7.5, which is a little bit harder to play when you're bending the notes, but it's easier to chord the notes in my opinion. So it's a little bit of give and take, but definitely let me know what you guys think. I'm curious to see what you guys prefer. A lot of people, I think, end up getting like a middle of the road type of thing, which is like a 9.5. A lot of people like that. It's easy to play. But some of you guys might be very, very particular and, you know, really like to have a really specific neck radius. So let me know what you guys think. Take the poll. It's there, Rico. I don't know why it doesn't show all the time, but it should. Maybe your notifications are turned off, but it should be there. I know some people have already taken the poll. And just do that, and I'll share the results with you next time we get together next Sunday. Looking forward to the next show. Have a fantastic week, guys. Stay safe. Enjoy playing your guitars, and practice, practice, practice. Keep your guitar acquisition list handy for next Sunday so we can talk about what you guys are getting. And hopefully I'll have a compressor pedal or something to share with you guys as well. I've been working on a wiring video. Some of you have asked to show you how I wire up my guitars when I'm changing the pickups. I've actually recorded something for that while I was putting together one of my Strats. So that's going to be posted shortly as well. Some of you guys were also asking to show you how I put together the implicit audio cabinet box, which is behind me. I didn't finish it yet, as you can see, but I did record a video when I was actually putting that together, so I'll probably throw that up on my channel as well. And there'll be some other interesting videos as well coming up, so stay tuned for those. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoy what we're doing here on Addicted to Gear. I appreciate your support during the live Sunday shows. Love to see you guys here. So have a good rest of your Sunday afternoon and enjoy the warmish weather while it's still warm. And don't be shy to ask your questions. All right, guys, I'll be happy to answer your questions on the live stream once it's posted. In case you missed it, I'll put in the timestamps and ask your questions, and I will definitely answer them all. All right, guys, thank you very much. Have an excellent week. See you soon.